evening, wherever you are in the world. I appreciate everyone taking the time out of their day to join us today. This will be our inaugural DAO call. As the Jigstack ecosystem continues to progress and we move more and more towards a full DAO. I am When.UTC, also the busy koala. My name is Ryan. Joined with Robert, Aidan, and Ale. We'll get to them here real quick. But first, recording disclaimer, this is going to be recorded, so if you do not want to speak or are uncomfortable with it, just, again, the DAO events chat is available. Feel free to post any questions in there, and we'll try to get to all those during the community question section. And as well, no questions about price talk. We will not discuss price during this call. There's a separate channel in the Discord for that if you would like to do that afterwards. And nothing we say should be construed as financial advice. If you need any advice, please use your own financial advisor. All right, and with that, we got Robert, Aidan, and Ale. You guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves? We'll start with you, Robert. I'm sure most are familiar with you. We probably only need a little short introduction from you.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, and thanks everyone for joining. I'm Robert. We are the COO of Jigstack. I'm back here again after I think I was on a call 2 months ago now. It's already been 2 months, but I was really eager to get back on one more call before the end of the year. Just explain to you guys about the DAO. I know this is an important element of Jigstack, and just wanted to bring in the team. Obviously introduce our CTO as well, Aidan, who you'll hear from soon, and then a special guest who's given up his time, Ale, who's been assisting us with the legal side of the DAO and setting up the structures and principles we will need to follow. Like I said, I'm here. I'll be answering some of the questions, but obviously live chat as well. Any follow-up questions from last time I spoke, I'm happy to discuss again with you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Robert. And Aidan, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, thanks Ryan. Thanks, Aidan Leonard here, obviously CTO. Really excited to be here today to meet with the community to talk about the DAO. In terms of myself, I come from a development background. I was a developer for about 5 years before jumping into project management. I've been there for about 15 years or so, working in a wide variety of industries across a number of different organization types, from startups to kind of big tech to government agencies. And about 3 years ago, I got interested in crypto, and felt it was a space that I needed to get into. It was an area that was kind of missing on my resume. And I came across the opportunity with Jigstack. Was super excited when I met Robbie. And since then, it's been an exhilarating journey. I've learned loads, and really excited to be here today to talk about the DAO, where things are going with the Jigstack team and all the different products, and how we propose to move forward with Jigstack from a DAO perspective. So really excited to be here. So thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Aidan. I'm sure everybody's happy to meet you as well. And Ale, you want to give yourself a quick introduction here for everybody who doesn't know who you are?
Sure. Thanks, Ryan, and thanks everybody for being here. So I'm Alessandro. I'm originally Italian. Been in the blockchain space since 2017. My background is in law, so I studied international commercial law, and basically worked as a self-employed advisor in the tech scene since 2015. In 2017 is when I came across the blockchain space. What really intrigued me a lot about the technology itself was the fact that it had the potential to outcompete lawyers and notaries. So I felt like, well, my career should change at this point. And then I dove into the technology itself and its potential, more than actually just crypto, but what it could do for decision-making processes and how decisions can be distributed between multiple people. So hence the DAO interest, and then working with DAOs and seeing what worked and what doesn't. And so I'm very excited to be here. Right now, I work mainly for a project that is also working on building a DAO and advising projects like Jigstack on especially what are the principles, what are the generative principles for a mature, to build a mature DAO step by step. So I'm very excited for this conversation, and thank you again for listening in.
Thank you, Ali. It was an awesome introduction, and we are, I know myself, and I'm sure the majority of the community here are super excited to have you advising with Jigstack as we transition to a full DAO. And then going further than this, right? So what exactly is the purpose of this call? Robert and Aidan, you guys want to go ahead and discuss?
Yeah, so I thought, obviously being on the call a couple of months ago, and then, I watch the community all the time and the questions coming through. I thought, as we're getting closer to finalizing our roadmap, I wanted to obviously, come out and to present, what's been happening in the back end, how we've been doing it, how the structures are, who we've been working with. Obviously, it's fantastic that Ali agreed to come on, so that you guys can see more from what's, behind the scenes. I think sometimes, with the curtain closed, there can be a bit of ounce about what's going on. And, I want to, especially next year, go into, like I was saying last call, having these more often, more team members on, and really trying to involve the team with the community as we both transition Jigstack towards, the end goal, which is to become fully DAO. And then the other side of it is obviously introducing Aidan. I thought it was super important to, meet our lead in the tech space of Jigstack, and get his thoughts, how he sees things going, and then any questions you may have for him, and then obviously being the end of the year and so close to next year, being here to ask any follow-up questions from last time I was on, and what the start of 2022 looks like, what does Q2 look like, and the like. So that's pretty much the rundown of where I see this going. Again, we could freestyle a little bit, questions come in. I'm more than happy to do that as well. But, with 3 people on the call, I think we can get a lot of information out.
Yeah. I just to add to that, I think it's really the start of a journey, an educational journey, just for this whole group, for the Jigstack community around the DAO concept, and making sure that, for me, I always say to the guys, it's really important that we're aligned in terms of requirements, in terms of understanding, in terms of process. And I think, this is critical that we get this alignment from the early days. And I think this call is definitely going to help kind of set the scene, if you like, around these DAO conversations that are going to be ongoing, hopefully for a very long time. And yeah, I think, we'll obviously have time at the end of this to talk about other stuff as well. But really, this is just framing the DAO, how we see it and how we want to progress in the future. And then we'd be excited to hear what the community's feedback is. So, yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that from both of you. So what exactly is a DAO for some of the new members who may not be completely aware of what a DAO is? And then also from a legal standpoint, how are DAOs considered? This one would probably be for you, Ali.
Sure. The hardest question, right? Define something.
Right from the bat, right?
Yeah. So first of all, from actually a recent conversation I had with someone that has jumped in and out of many DAOs, we had this exact discussion. What does it mean? And the definition we came up with, just like a bunch of people trying to make decisions together, which is very much the only description that embrace what a DAO is. I think what most people have in mind, of course, beyond the just a bunch of people, is the coordination, decision making, and the more like technical side of what a DAO does, which is collecting decisions and resources from a pool of different people, and sort of automatically make decisions or send funds based on predetermined rules. Like you can say that the DAO helps to people co-create, cooperate with each other, coordinate decision making. So on the how do we do something, and then finally help big groups collaborate. From a legal standpoint, so a DAO can just exist, right? They can exist on a Discord channel, on a Telegram channel, and if there is some sort of like automated process to make decisions, it doesn't need necessarily a very complex structure to make it happen. The let's say legality of it, for instance, when you start a sports team or whatever, it's usually the legal the jurisdiction where you're in, depending on what type of organization happens, usually gives you a name, which is an association, for instance, or more like formal, can be a foundation, it can be a limited company, and this very much depends on the group that creates this new organization to then label it something. And that's very much depending on jurisdictions. What I've seen, and let's say the most exciting, what translates best a DAO into a legal entity right now, again, very much depending on the country where you're in, but like community-led trusts, for instance, cooperatives, have been very good legal entities that have been, the DAOs have been translated into. Of course, you've got the foundation idea that the Ethereum Foundation, for instance, started, but that's a bit more complicated. And again, Ethereum is discussable if it's a DAO or not as an organization. This is a short answer. I think it's a huge topic that maybe we can cover in the coming months, in terms of legalities and what people can do in the place where they're in and they're settled. But this is the most general answer I could give.
It's perfect. Yeah, I'm sure we don't want to spend 4 months in here, right, going over all the details that can be possibly considered, right?
And it's mostly boring stuff. So.
All right, yeah. So do we have the overall DAO steps, Aidan?
Well, we do. I think, really the progress to full DAO is all about maturity and how do we get to the stage of full maturity. And the way we see it is there's 4 steps, right? So you got the current stage that we're in, the early stage, where you've got your kind of everybody's got their own individual freedoms. There's a kind of the core team are driving a lot of the education, the building, enforcing kind of the guidelines, and the community are, just looking for some guidance like we are doing today. This is kind of the early stage of the process, if you like. Then individuals are everybody's kind of getting to know the products like that we have out at the moment. We're going to have 4 out this year, and obviously next year we're going to have a couple more. And but really the community is very much relying on the core team to drive things, but it's a little bit scattered. There's conversations happening on Discord. It is quite organized, but at the same time the focus isn't really there, and the drive is usually just looking at maybe personal things that they want to get from the project. So that'll be the early stage, and then the kind of the mid stage, if you like, and which would be more coordination of a group. There's definitely a need for more decentralized leadership. There's kind of community stewards that are picked by the core team to help drive the engagement. Now you could say we've kind of touched on that already with the ambassadors. Then we start looking at tools to introduce to the community, like for proposals, for access management. But there's a lot more community engagement. There's voting on smaller topics where we're asking the community to say, okay, well, can you, for example, I think a few months ago we asked about the name of milkshake. We put that to a poll. We got that kind of engagement. So the importance of those votes will increase throughout the different stages of the DAO, and the community will have more of a say, obviously, depending on their stack that is staked in Stakbank. So once we get through that, the next kind of the third stage is the mid-advanced stage, where there's more collaboration between groups. We're getting more. The core team is starting to learn more from the community. We're starting to be driven more by the community in terms of building the technology and the products, and everybody's feeling a lot more empowered to take initiatives, right? To go and create a proposal, to push for it to vote, to kind of get the influence to drive their proposal through the process that will be in place at that stage. And then these small groups will start to create their own projects, put them through the proposal process, and actually see them come through to fruition, right? And there's this more kind of a sense of a collective purpose. Everybody's all in it together. It's a lot more aligned. There's a clarity around the process before we then move into the final stage, where it's a lot more automated with the different processes that are in place. That it'll be definitely driven by code. There'll be a lot of clarity and alignment around how things work. The core team will definitely have kind of faded into the background unless they're asked to stay on board by the community. And there's this kind of freedom where the community starts to elect its representatives to drive everything in terms of development, in terms of process, in terms of everything that can kind of happen in a sort of a self-organizing fashion. And then we can start interacting with other communities and really start to build out this whole concept of the DAO of DeFi and just act as a kind of an umbrella for to facilitate that. But really, like I said, it's about driving for maturity through each of these different processes. The question could be asked: well, how do we get there? How do we know that we are going to the next level of maturity, that we're ready for the next level of maturity? So it's not really going to be, well, in 6 months we're going to go from stage 1 to stage 2, or in a year we're going to go from stage 3 to stage 4, or in 5 years we're going to be fully DAO. It's really going to have to be a set of kind of metrics that we're looking to define, or KPIs, key performance indicators, that it'll be clear to everybody that the community is ready to move to the next stage. Now, there might be some overlap between different stages, where we might have one foot in the early stage and another foot in the kind of mid stage, but at some point we'll all be clear that okay, based on the KPIs, we're ready all to move forward. And those KPIs will usually look like how much engagement is there from the community. Last month there was 100 people voting. This month we've got 1,000 people voting, and we've got the results back from the polls have been very, very strong, and things like that, where it'll become very obvious that we're ready to move to the next stage. And I think that's it. I don't know, Ali, if you have anything else to add to that, or maybe Robbie, but that's kind of how we see it, I think, in general. Obviously there's a lot of detail that needs to go in there. That's a very high level overview of where we see it going, but I know we'll be providing more details in the next couple of weeks about that specifically. But yeah, Ali, if you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, sure. And thanks for running us through that. Well, I mean, the idea, when I started, let's say, advising you guys on how to build a DAO differently than anyone else, I think the problem with centralization is that usually there is someone that tells, this is how the DAO should work. And the way you guys wanted to do it from the beginning is, we want the community to build it with us. So you need time, you need, the purpose to be built by the community that is sort of coming together. So that's why the the step-by-step process. And when the interaction is not there yet, it doesn't make sense to build, a decision-making system that allows us for, coordination. When there's no coordination felt, like there's no purpose and so on. So this is why I love that you're going for it. You're going for this. Let's build a community first that gets the people to know each other, and then starts to release, like, what you will call maybe at the end, the pure DAO, which is you can say it's when the code really just takes over most of and automates most of the decision making processes, and people rely on the DAO functioning. But that's a long way to go, and I think the consolidation of the why all these people in this community came together is the first step, and I think is already right now you're already sort of consolidating that, at least from what I can observe. And yeah, so like one of the distinctions that I made with you as well in any sort of like decision making system is that you have three main ways that you can sort of impose certain behavior to individuals and collectives. It's through norms. So norms are like moral sort of moral rules, let's say, that people follow, like don't use bad words on the chat and or don't interrupt people and so on. Like these are just culturally developed, and those are developed on with no one telling you what to do. Is like common sense in a way. Then you've got rules, which are the laws that we are used to, and there's some top-down sort of control telling you what you should and shouldn't be done, and also the enforcement is top-down, right? So there's a police, or there's a team enforcing the rules, and the next step, and this is done in quite a few DAOs, is done, where people cancel individuals and so on based on a set of rules, and then there is the code, and the code is like the last part where there's basically no central enforcement, but the enforcement is made by the rules of the DAO itself. And to get to there, you need to go through all these sort of steps, of like, let's get the people to meet each other and create some sort of like moral understanding of why they're there and how they should behave with each other as a shared understanding. And then you move to the rules, whereby, there's, as the group grows, there needs to be some sort of management. Ideally, very little, because the norms and the moral code that is developed is sufficient. And then you move to the code after those two steps. And I think, also the decision making will, will change, like from consensus to more democratic systems. Like it all depends on how mature the community is. Just wanted to add that to your evolutionary process that you described.
Yeah, great. That is an amazing overview. Did you have one more thing to add, Aidan, or?
No, I was just going to say it is a journey, and I think that there needs to be an understanding from the community that it's going to take time, to be patient, to understand the process, to fall in love with the process, if you like, because if you're just expecting things to happen overnight, then you're going to be disappointed. You need to get engaged, you need to get involved, you need to vote, you need to make proposals, you need to ask questions, you need to provide constructive feedback at every stage, and that everybody's involvement there from now over the next few years, or however long it's going to take, is critical. So I think it's up to everybody on this call and outside the call to play their part, and the rate and pace at which we move through those stages will solely depend on the community's level of engagement. We're the core team are here to facilitate that. We have our plan, our framework, if you like. We're ready to jump as fast as needed, but obviously we'll provide guidance if we think people are going to move through too fast, or want to move too fast through these different stages. So I think that's important to kind of lay out, and everybody's got a role to play. Everybody's going to be accountable to help move us forward. And it's the start of hopefully a great journey.
Yeah, that was an awesome overview, including the timeline. So I know it was briefly touched on from you, Aidan. But so, how are the voting rights going to be managed as we transition from these early stages where the team has a lot more control, right, in its infancy, and we move into the later stage, the mid-advanced to the final advanced stage, right? How are these voting rights to be managed? And to go along with that, how do you envision the flow of proposals? We brought up the community to get involved, right? So how do you see the flow of proposals from an idea being proposed from a community member going up to votes, technical review of it, and then subsequently implementing the proposal if it's found to be valid?
Yeah, I think voting rights in a nutshell probably be managed within kind of Stakbank based on your stack that you've staked, and also with Jstak as well, which we'll talk about in a bit. I mean, Stakbank is going to serve as the engine, especially V3, as the engine of the whole DAO, just to help facilitate votes, and obviously we'll use Snapshot as well to help with that kind of voting process of kind of off chain, on chain. But maybe just in terms of the proposals and how it flows and how that whole process is going to work. I mean, let's just take a step back and look at how we do it at the team level first. Typically there was a set of, at the start of the project, there was a roadmap of products that the team had come up with that were said, okay, we need to deliver on these 6 products. There were PRDs written up, which are kind of product requirement documents, which outlined what is within each of these particular products. Then we kind of got some estimates. We huddled around the document. We got the estimates. We scheduled when the development work is going to take place. We did the technical analysis as well, and then we actually set up the work in a series of sprints. It's called Agile or Scrum methodology, where every 2 weeks we work on a certain piece of the product, and over time then we eventually deliver the MVPs, right? So that's what's happening at the team level. So really that process now needs to be scaled for the community, where we say, well, how do we mimic this process at the DAO level so that the community feel fully engaged, that they're able to provide their input, that we're able to, that the core team, and well, more so the DAO itself, are able to leverage the skill set within the community so that we're, optimizing for delivering great products, great features, great proposals. So we got to look at the different tools that we can leverage. Obviously, Discord is one. Like I mentioned, there's Snapshot. There's I think Collabland that we can use. And I'm expecting within the next year to 18 months, there's going to be a slew of products that come through that the community would be able to leverage to really help us with that flow of proposals. But I see it, people just simply being in a position to say, hey, I've got a proposal. I'm assuming we'll have some level of a form or a kind of an application process, if you like. They may need to. So there may need to be a, again, depending on the phase, there may need to be a slimmed down version of that, where it's simply people getting interest from other community members to create a proposal. Then once they get some momentum behind that, then it's seen as, well, is this something we want to put forward for a vote? Once it goes forward for a vote, if there's enough interest and there's enough interest for the team to go ahead and develop that at this early stage, then we'll take that on board. Maybe we'll have collaborative sessions over Discord to talk about the certain features of it, to get more details, to note out the nuances. And then, it'll maybe getting the team to do some technical analysis, putting it all together, and then executing on that, right? And again, that's with the current core team. In the future, that might be a different development team. They might come in and they might make a proposal, and once the community vote on that particular proposal, then that development team will be given the funds through the treasury to manage that process and to deliver that product, whatever, or proposal, whatever it is at the time. And I think I think that's the high level kind of overview at this stage. It's really scaling out the current process that we have at the team level, leveraging the tools and technologies that are in place right now, making sure that everybody has a voice and everybody has an opportunity to give their opinion, B, to leverage their skill set, and B, and C, to get involved, right? Maybe to do some of the work. So it's very much going to be a collaborative process. It's going to move from a pretty much centralized process now, but among the team, to a decentralized process where everybody has that opportunity to put in their opinion, thoughts, ideas, effort, time, and action. So yeah, I think that's it. I think at a high level.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then appreciate that. And so you did just mention the Jstak for voting rights and governance role, right? So could you just maybe elaborate a bit more specifically on Jstak's role in governance rights, and then why staking your stack in Stakbank is so important to accumulate this Jstak?
Yeah. So I suppose Jstak is really, if you look at it like a kind of our secret sauce, it's something that will differentiate us from probably a lot of other DAOs. It's an opportunity for the little guy, if you like, to come in, and when he stakes his stack, he's also got an opportunity to once he stakes it for a longer time, then he's going to gain kind of Jstak rewards, if you like, and with these Jstak, it gives you access to a lot more features. You're going to benefit from it in a wide variety of ways. For example, if you the longer you actually hold your stack, the more Jstak you'll accumulate and kind of compound over time. And like I said, it really opens up the options within Jstak. For example, you might get access to more private auctions of NFTs in the future for potentially private rounds of IDOs, depending on how long you hold your stack and how much it's accumulated. And that's when you stake stack, you will automatically mint Jstak. And the longer you hold on to it, there's a multiplier, a longevity multiplier, which increases every month. I think it's like 1.1 the first month, 1.2 the second month, all the way up to 2x. And it's something that will really help leverage people's position within the community, and to allow them to have a more of a say. And it shows loyalty to the community. It shows that you've staked all your stack, you're holding on to it, you're a true believer. So you should be rewarded in a certain way. And Jstak, we feel, is the way to do that. It allows us to identify people who are dedicated to the DAO, and they should be rewarded accordingly. So that those rewards come in the shape of, like I said, access to better opportunities within the DAO, as opposed to somebody who comes in, they buy a few stack, they stake for a month, they want to try and get into a round, they can't do it. They may leave, but if they're interested, they may stick around, and they realize that, well, if I want to stick around, but I don't necessarily have whale-like funds to get into the private rounds, I can look at the calculation of Jstak and my stack, and then just see, well, if I hang around for so long, then I'll have access to a lot of these benefits and features that the Jigstack DAO is providing me, right? That's initially, but I think in the future, Jigstack is going to be very flexible. It will be something that we'll present that the DAO will be able to decide how to leverage it, what can be done with it, and it'll really be a very useful tool as we move forward, to help with DAO governance, in terms of voting power, delivering benefits across the entire suite of the Jigstack products, and really just acting as an internal incentive within the Jigstack community to get engaged, to stay around, and to benefit from all the great things that are going to happen in the Jigstack DAO in the coming years.
Awesome. That that sounds amazing. I know I'm excited to be accumulating my Jstak right now. So We got a question for Ale. So I know you touched on this just a little bit earlier in some of the introductory questions, but how can a DAO overcome some of the legal frameworks of the various jurisdictions, since its users and participants are going to be all over the world?
Yeah. So again, you could decide to have a DAO run without any legal entity connected to it, but as soon as there's financial transactions and people to be paid and this sorts of stuff, you would need a legal entity. So MakerDAO or whatever, like other DAOs that are actually, people have full-time jobs working for them, need a legal structure, and usually for accountants is a nightmare. But you could actually build even a limited company that only deals with what the taxman wants, and the more like bureaucratic things like payments of invoices and things like that. But we're a bit far from like creating an actual like oracle for a legal entity that is basically like a twin of the DAO becomes the twin, let's say, of a legal entity registered at the Chamber of Commerce in your jurisdiction. But the internationality of it, I think it's more of a problem of labor law, sort of like visas and things like that, than a problem of like the legalities, like the more commercial, corporate, legal stuff. Yeah, so this is my best answer. Like what I've seen is usually the legal entities being used are something along the lines of associations here in Europe, because that allows for, and it's a non-for-profit sort of entity, which means the problem with a limited is, of course, the accumulation of capital and the fact that it needs capital all the time in there. It can be useful for DAOs as well. So it really depends on what the purpose of that organization that you're building is. Yeah, that's my best answer.
Yeah, we appreciate the input. Yeah, probably a lot of that real technical tax law stuff that I'm sure everybody loves. All right, so as we continue, right? So since Jigstack, we're building the decentralized apps, and the DAO is going to be supported by a smart contract. Are we going to see an increase in the developer team that currently exists, or will the current team be enough to continue to build and scale the ecosystem and the DAO?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think we just need to wrap up the MVPs for our products. I think with the current team, and I see that happening very soon. In the future, yes, of course, there'll definitely be an increase of developer resources. I think the team are spread across all the products right now, and they're jumping between the products. I think once we scale, things start to build, we're going to have to set up individual teams per product and really look to zone in that each team is fully focused on developing a product, a Stakbank or gallery or whatever the case is. We'll have dedicated product managers who are fully focused on getting the latest and greatest details and research for what's the best route, or what's a potential roadmap for, say for example, the gallery. What's the latest there, doing that background on NFTs, and then again engaging with the community and presenting it and saying here's what we're thinking, and going through that whole maturity process of the DAO. Then given the community the opportunity to engage with that team. So there's definitely going to be a scaling of the team. when that happens, I think the time we'll know when the time is right to do that. Expect it'll probably be next year, but really for now it's about consolidation of the products, getting them out there, getting them working, getting people engaged, starting to add features as we in Q1 and Q2 we're definitely going to be focused on building rolling out features per product every couple of weeks and dropping, adding value to the products. There won't be a kind of a big bang approach like there was this year, where it's like, oh, by a certain date, we're expecting to have the MVP for this product. It'll be more every couple of weeks, we'll be dropping features. And, there'll be no big marketing hype around it. It'll just be, we've added this particular feature on Stakbank. Go have a look, guys. But definitely in the future, there needs to be a specialization with teams totally focused on totally supporting each of the different products. That's definitely the plans for the future, the very near future.
Yeah, I think that's great. As we build up and all the products are fully launched, to have dedicated teams that focus solely on each product, right? They'll know it in and out. They'll be better ingrained in the community and their wants and desires for improvements and add-ons and additions to each product individually. I think that's really amazing. And then also, again, for you, Aidan, real quick, regarding safety, right, which everyone is aware of, is a huge item in smart contracts these days. We see information about hacks and everything. And I mean, even just yesterday, CoinMarketCap appears to have been hacked and their stuff was messed up. So what kind of safety measures is Jigstack planning to set up into the DAO contract?
Yeah, I think, one of the first things I said to Robbie when I joined was, security. That's my number one concern. That should be in place from day one, in terms of not just smart contracts, but just everything that we do. And it should be embedded within the team that we're a security first kind of team and approach. So I'll go back to what we do at the team level, and then talk about at the DAO level. I'm really strong on having audits for both the smart contract, penetration tests, load tests, and making sure that before we launch a product, be it an MVP or anything else, that all three of those particular audits have been completed. They're fully clean, or at least reasonably clean, where yes, you might have some low level issues that can be fixed afterwards, but in terms of a particular launch, there needs to be all the high severity issues are resolved, medium issues are resolved, and that's across specifically, the most important one is obviously the smart contracts from a funds perspective, but penetration is important from a privacy and details perspective, or just getting in there and messing with the application. And then load test is a performance issue. You want to have a good kind of user experience, so that is embedded within each of the schedules that I make with the team. And we're working with our partner Cyrex, who are awesome, to perform those kind of audits. That's embedded from day one, and we always give ourselves enough kind of runway to do audits, to expect that the audit is going to come back. There's going to be issues, so we do a re-audit. And then we may even do a third re-audit. Well, not so much a full re-audit, but just a kind of a retest that the issues have been fixed. And just making sure that we've got a clean report at the end of it to say, hey guys, present to the community, look, here's what we've done. Here's the proof. We've got it signed off. We're good to go. So it just gives that level of reassurance that the products are solid. So when you take that, then, that kind of approach, similar to the technical or the rollout of the proposals, we need to look at how that's going to be implemented at the DAO scale, at the DAO level. What does that look like? And really, I don't see it being a whole lot different than what we do now. It's just that there might be different people managing that audit process, in terms of not so much who the auditors are, but it may not be the core team that's managing it. It could be some key DAO members who've been voted in to run that process. They could be handling the funds to pay for these audits. There'll also be as well as that, we also do kind of code reviews. within the team. Maybe at the DAO level, we'll have some members of the community getting in there, taking a look at the code. And again, it goes back to leveraging the skill sets within the community. There could be gaps in there that the team are not fully aware of, or they want to. That's been identified by highly skilled people in the community. They're like, "Oh, guys, you've missed something over here." So there should be there'll be channels and kind of processes around that I think it'll be important to manage it. That should be one of the first things that we get right when we do start to let go of the code and the development process. That once it starts getting to the DAO level, that there's a clarity there as to what we do from a security perspective, how it's managed, who manages it, is everybody aware of it, is everybody security conscious? It's not just let's just get it out and get it done, and let's move on. It really has to be a security first approach, because there are a lot of hacks, like you said. There's lots of stuff going on all the time. There needs to be an awareness that this is the approach that we need to take. And some of the things are this multi-sig approach needs to be, to make sure that in relation to funds, that everything is secure there, that we've got that trust element, and that there is a management process there to ensure that that can be handled in a safe and secure way. So yeah, I think again, it's just scaling what we have right now, making sure everybody's clear on that process, having people in place that know how to do that process, and making sure that the community, again, I go back to it, it's they're fully aligned and behind the process, and they've gave their input into the process, and we move forward.
Awesome. Hey, appreciate everybody's answers. So this will actually wind up our first structured questions, right? Anybody in the community, if you have a question and you haven't typed it into the chat channel, you can go ahead and click the little hand at the bottom that looks like it's waving, raise your hand, and we can call you guys up here on stage one at a time, and you guys can ask your questions to anyone. I know we've heard a lot from Aidan and Ale already. Robert is here as well if anybody has follow-up questions, as he mentioned, from his AMA just a couple months back, as well as any new questions that anybody may have. So just hit the button at the bottom. And again, just a reminder, it is being recorded. If you're uncomfortable, please just type it into the DAO events chat, and we'll be more than happy to read it out. Looks like we've got BTC up first. Go ahead and confirm that, BTC.
Hi, hello. I just want to know, what is your idea of a good number of IDOs per month as soon as we get this project running in the right way? Because I know right now it's the beginning, but once it gets settled and you guys are happy, how many IDOs would you be happy with per month? Thank you.
I can answer that. Well, I would like as many as possible once we're up and running. I guess at the start, we're just very careful who we bring in. We obviously want to build, work with successful projects, but it's also building the foundations of kind of the application system that works in with kind of voting rights, where it's kind of like self-proposed to the voters, and the voters can understand from a certain standpoint that they're past all the parameters that we put in place, and it's just basically a yes or no based on the type of feel of the project itself. It's kind of passed all the tests. Just treat it like an automatic kind of like audit or review of the whole project. But yeah, ideally, I'd love to have 10 a day if possible, but it's baby steps getting there, and then obviously we want to select projects as well that actually bring in value. You can see from the 2 projects that we have launched, I know that unfortunately, and I did announce it, that there was an issue with the project that was supposed to launch last month. We've put another kind of parameter around the projects we're talking to now, that once they get to a point where we're going to commit and announce the projects are going to run, that they've got to put a deposit, and both projects I'm talking to right now are quite comfortable with that, so that's great. So if worst case scenario per se, a project does fail or go elsewhere, those funds are then automatically sent to Stakbank for the community. But yeah, we've got obviously 2 planned early next year, and we've got a variety of other ones coming. But the more projects we bring in that are successful, the more projects we're going to want to launch with us. And then on top of that, like I mentioned last time, we've been heavy development this year. Next year will be user adoption, and part of that, we'll be in marketing and getting the name out to Lemonade, getting more lead generation to good projects coming through, showing the proof. Proof is in the pudding of Lemonade being a great place, and obviously as our stakeholders, being really, really good investors for projects, and then hopefully not just getting the IDOs, but also the private rounds, and who says we can't get seed round? Once we adopt a long-term kind of longevity proof in our holders holding long. That's basically what investors look, other than big funds, they want people in those rounds to hold, because as when those private rounds get unlocked, weekends fall out. They kind of like from the investment side, like I work with a lot of investment firms, and these kind of people that get out of projects really quickly to make a quick dollar, they don't get the next one. So we don't want that to be seen with Jigstack and Lemonade. We want it to be shown that the community is super strong, and they believe in the projects. By all means, de-risk yourself. I'm not giving you legal advice, financial advice per se, but the overall kind of view of Lemonade and stakeholders is we're here, we support good projects, and we reap the rewards and the benefits from them going forward.
I think that's an amazing overview of it. I'm definitely looking forward to the transition more from the development side to the, as you said, lead generation side. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions? Feel free to ask. I know Robert mentioned earlier he's willing to take some non-DAO related ones. If anybody has any follow-up from prior. No? All right. I do have another one. As far as this may be for Aidan, Robert, I'm not sure. As far as going back to the stages, when we transition the stages, is there right now we're taking input from the community through a chat channel and everything. Do we have plans to maybe implement a more official like ticketing system where people can track the progress of their proposals, and we can keep a more formal record of all of these, and then combine some that are similar, and then implement those into a little bit more formal vote system throughout Discord and Telegram?
Yeah, I think I touched on it. I think we'll try and mimic the process that we have for the team. In terms of exactly how we do that, I think that's something we can get some feedback on the community as to how they would like to progress it. We definitely want to encourage collaboration among the community and really start looking at getting early feedback on proposals, and helping to move that through the process as soon as we can. I think the earlier we get engagement from the community, the stronger those proposals are, the stronger the DAO becomes over time. So like I said, what that looks like right now, we definitely need to look at it. We'll definitely be looking at leveraging Discord a little bit more. We've tools within our kind of in-house, like Jira, where we manage a lot of our work. There's potentially tools like that we could use, and just kind of getting tickets created in there. Maybe we can open that up to the community where people send in tickets and they're stored in our backlog. We then review them as a team, and then we would discuss them with the community. If we felt there were items that could be adding value to the products right now, that is definitely an area we can look at. Potentially, there are other tools like that would be better suited to facilitating large scale proposals. So yeah, I think that's one area we can look at very soon for sure.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Community, you heard them, right? Make sure you getting involved, and that starts right now, right? If you have any questions, please raise your hand in the Discord. Get ready to ask. Right. We've got Moto.
Okay, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yep.
Okay. Do you guys have any plans of having the voting and all that stuff happening in Stakbank? I mean, I feel like that would be the ultimate place to have that. Have a list of proposals and where you can vote and all that kind of right within Stakbank.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like I said, I think Stakbank is going to be the heartbeat of Jigstack in the future. We'd have everything in there. I think there's definitely a lot of information that we will bubble up to the surface in terms of Stakbank. For example, your Jstack right now, if you stake, there's not really that transparency there as to how much Jstack you've actually earned. So we're looking in the next quarter to introduce like a kind of a Jstack dashboard where that information is there and you get to see the details around your Jstack. And in the future, we'll definitely be able to integrate all these voting technologies and proposal management. I do see it as being like I said, the engine or the dashboard of the Jigstack DAO, where you go in, you see the proposals that are there, you see your current status, what you've voted on, the results of that of that vote, where it's at, maybe from a project or from an implementation perspective. So it's not going to happen overnight, but early days are that we'll start providing that level of transparency in relation to Jigstack, and then we'll just schedule out the rest of those kind of transparency tools, if you like, and adopt those processes to ensure that Stakbank does become this engine that we will help kind of drive the voting process within Jigstack. So yeah, great question, Laura. Thank you.
Go ahead, BTC, you have a follow-up?
The other person has call captions enabled. Please start speaking.
Ethereum, if affiliated link marketing, is that going to be coming out next quarter or more towards after like the summertime?
I think it'll be definitely, I think, later in the year. We want to consolidate on our MVPs right now. We want to knuckle down, add some more features to each of the different MVP of the products that are there. We are in the process of continuing to do some research on ETHLink, as well as Milkshake. There's definitely meetings going to be happening in parallel. I think when the actual development starts will probably be in the second half, maybe the second quarter, third quarter, when we'll start putting things in place for it. It's definitely going to be a big part of the Jigstack suite of products. We really feel that this can take things to the next level. But I don't see it happening in Q1, not in terms of development, but there'll definitely be some progress in terms of fleshing out the requirements, making sure that we're aligned on what's going to be part of ETHLink, how it's going to look, how it's going to interact with all the other products, and how we can scale that, because this ETHLink it can really help scale not just the Jigstack products but also other products outside of the Jigstack ecosystem, and of course everybody's going to benefit from that. So we want to make sure we get it right. We do have an initial idea of what it looks like, but everybody's going to have the thoughts and opinions. Things have changed from a year ago when we thought about the ETHLink product, what it was going to look like. The landscape is constantly changing, and maybe there's things that'll happen in the next 3 to 6 months that'll tweak our understanding of what should be in ETHLink, and yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing how that progresses.
Awesome. Appreciate the question, BTC. If you wouldn't mind, just hop back into the audience. We got another one written here real quick from one of our ambassadors, and this one is directed towards Robert. Of the current products that are under the Jigstack umbrella, which has you most excited? Which one are you most bullish on? Or a project that's in the works that you're real excited for, and why?
Yeah, well, ideally, I'd say I'm in love with all our products. But I'm just super excited about Santa, the gifting solution. Adoption of the next wave of people coming into crypto. Us being the first touch point. and just kind of automating that process of teaching them as well, using our Stack Academy system that we want to put in place, and just streamlining a whole. There's a lot of people that are on the fence. We would all have friends and family. It's like, I want to get into it. I just don't know how to. We want to kind of automate that, and we think, with a gifting solution and like Santa. That's really scalable, so that's super exciting for us. And then that's kind of like the entry point into our ecosystem, and then people start learning about what is Ethereum, what is staking, what is an IDO, and just really building out an understanding of what they can actually do in DeFi, and how they can get freedom from the stuff that's kind of they're stuck in right now. And I have my friends and family, I'm super excited to send to them. So that's probably the most exciting product that we've been working on, and I'm just itching right now. It's so close. So maybe Aidan can tell you, just from the standpoint of like understanding that like it's there, it's just a security thing that we're holding back right now. And these kind of things, although not ideal, in the long run are super important, like especially with something where you're sending gifts, that we have the security right. And Aidan, he basically sets the tone for me, whether it's yes, no, and bridges the concerns whether or not we should. And once I get the all clear from him, we're absolutely going to go bang with Santa.
And I think it's important to emphasize that, that approach it's for the long term. It's not a short term, let's just get it out the door because there's pressure to do things. My philosophy is we need to do it right at the start. You set the tone, you've got a solid product, and it may not be to everybody's liking that it's delivered on a certain date. But I'd much prefer that than delivering a kind of a shoddy product that has gaps, that's got some security concerns that ultimately bites us but by trying to deliver early. So, that's the approach, and I know it can be frustrating, but I think over the long term, that approach is going to definitely provide a sense of reassurance to the community, confidence in Jigstack, in the team, and I think it's worked well so far. I know there's definitely been some areas, some delays that have caused frustrations, but not just for the community, but whatever frustration that the community feels, then the team are feeling that as well. We're not, intentionally delaying things. We are keen to get these things out as soon as possible, but we have processes, we have checks and balances, we have procedures that we just need to kind of get those check boxes ticked off and make sure that we're all confident, everything's signed, approved, and then we move forward in a confident manner. So,
yeah, it's great to hear that. You're not just going to release something unready, and you're going to ensure that it's secure before possibly launching anything.
Maybe if I can clarify just before the next question, I think these products are MVPs. They're so minimum viable product. It's the basic level of functionality that the product is working. There may be visually it'll look good, but there's definitely lots of opportunities for improvement. And I think it's important for the community to be aware that this is the first version. What that is going to look like in 6 months, in a year's time, it could be completely different. But it's going to do the basic thing well. It's going to be secure, and it's going to be a core foundation for Jigstack.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's going to allow the community members to get a look at it, and as in a DAO, right, we'll be able to voice our opinions, our thoughts, put it up for kind of an informal proposal, and pass our input along.
Yeah, please do. I mean, I welcome constructive feedback, criticism, if you like, of the products, of the way things have been done. I think it's important. We'll definitely take it on board. We'll definitely look at even at this stage informal discussions. Right, we're always kind of working with Filippo, monitoring Discord, seeing what the chatter is like, and adapting as quick as we can. So definitely encourage feedback for sure.
Awesome, that's great to hear. Crypt, you have a question real quick?
Yeah, for sure. For Robert, if possible. I think in your previous AMA, you mentioned that we're looking to get 3 products on Polygon by the end of the year. Do you still see that as your timeline? And obviously with the recent announcement yesterday from Filippo of Stakbank looking to move on V1 onto Polygon, would that suggest that V2 would incorporate crops?
Yes. The goal is 100% still to get on, and we've still got time. We've factored in time to get those at least 3 products on Polygon. And going with V2, 100% correct. That will open the door with crops. So, it's just like we've been mentioning, it's just things kind of get boiled back. It may be a week. I'm hoping before December 31st that they're all 3, but, it may be January 3rd. But, right now, everything stands that we will have all 3 products on board, so... and you guys, like, as much as it bites us sometimes, we're very transparent with you guys when we can be, and we tell you guys when there are delays. So if there is, we'll definitely tell you. But at this point, 3 products will be on Polygon by the end of the year.
Cool, cheers for that. Then my last question is, on the Lemonade website, if you go onto it, there's no sign of Jigstack anywhere. The Jigstack logo is not there. Is there any reason for that? And if not, is there any way that we can perhaps link the two so that when people do go onto the Lemonade, they know that it's a Jigstack product?
Yeah. That kind of goes back to what Aidan was saying before, like the MVPs coming out. There are obviously things missed. 100%, if not already. I know that a lot of these kind of like superficial kind of synergies between the products aren't there, and we're working towards that. I know the guys have put together a lot of feedback from the community that's kind of gone into a backlog, and we're hoping to update, all the websites more in the coming months, whether that be again, like Aidan was saying, that next year, we'll kind of go more of an agile approach where we'll be just dropping new features and similar things to what you've mentioned that will just appear. Some things will be announced, some things won't matter to be announced. They'll just appear. But the more feedback we get from you guys, like I said last time, it may not seem like we're listening, but we definitely are. It's just that we're kind of went super aggressive with development, so we're kind of like backlogged. But a lot of the stuff that's come through from the community, and it been reiterated a couple of times, has definitely gone into our PRDs, and is definitely there. It's just making sure 100% we can get it in a time frame when developers have free time. I don't know, Aidan, do you have you that can pass your desk that about the Lemonade website?
Well, I think it's important to outline that there's lots of areas that could be improved. I think that's definitely one of them. I'm not sure if that's specifically in there right now, but we also need to look at like the priority and the importance of that. I think it is important from a branding perspective to have that kind of umbrella effect. And if you come to the Lemonade website, it's not clear it's part of the Jigstack umbrella. But just in general, I think any suggestions or proposals, they need to be prioritized. They need to be looked at from a value add perspective. What's the most important thing? Is it a perception thing that we're more worried about versus the feature adding value to the user? So there's these kind of conversations that need to be kind of filtered through for each of these different proposals or these feedback like you're just given here. But definitely welcome, like I said earlier, all the feedback that you guys want to send through. We'll take it, we'll put it in our backlog, we'll review it, we'll run it through the mill, and we'll bubble up the most important ones, and then as over time we'll get through to all of these items and hopefully roll them out in a good time. So yeah, thanks for your question.
Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for the question script. Very good questions. We got. Let's take one more from the chat. This one's from an ambassador, right? Very glad to hear there's a focus on ensuring security before launching. Is there is the plan to develop multiple products, the three mentioned, flexible to prioritize Santa, right? Are we seeing the Santa prioritization and then the subsequent launches, or are they happening kind of at once?
But well, Santa launch is going to happen, in the next very soon. Hopefully in the next couple of days. So that's number one. The team are heads down on that. We've done the work, however, on prioritizing, estimating the features and kind of functionalities for Lemonade and for Stakbank. So for Q1, Q2, we're putting together a roadmap, or what we see as a roadmap to roll these particular features out. They won't be a big bang. There won't be like a V2 or a V3. It'll be kind of every couple of weeks. There'll be one or two features per product, and what you're going to see, like Robert said, is things will just appear. There may or may not be announcements around certain features. If it's big enough, we'll definitely let the community know. Hey, we've added this particular feature. Go take a look, and that's kind of the approach we're going to be taking, as opposed to say this year, where it's like, oh, we're going to release Stakbank version 1. It's going to be on this certain date. We're going to release Lemonade. We're going to do an IDO. We're releasing kind of Santa. It's going to be not necessarily a slower approach, but a more measured approach, and but adding value every time. Each sprint, I'm going to be asking the team, we need to deliver certain features. Let's get them out and let's make sure they're working. And obviously, from an audit perspective, some of these features won't necessarily need to be audited. In fact, most of them won't be. We'll only be really auditing when we've got a major release or a major change to a smart contract. And that's kind of the approach we'll be taking there from a security perspective. So, we know the direction we want to go. We've got all the work kind of lined up, and now it's a question of just executing and making sure that we keep the community close, we keep you guys engaged and up to date as to what's happening, and obviously taking on board any of that feedback that you guys are going to have across all of these features. And again, I highly encourage everybody to do that. And let's move it forward, guys.
Yeah, I'll just quickly mention on top of that, just from the user adoption side. So like I was saying, we went heavy tech this year. So we'll be doing a lot more user adoption next year. So there'll be a lot more marketing using the products that are out, that will kind of counteract, us developing not so much slower, but more kind of measured, like Aidan was saying. So it's not necessarily going to, kind of dim down kind of hype going on, because, we're going to have a growing community. We really want to push this Discord, bringing more community members into this. We want people to be, using Stakbank. The reason why people use Stakbank is there is things like the NFT with like gallery or IDOs on Lemonade, and then obviously Santa as well. Really pushing that through to get the next wave of crypto people. So from a development standpoint, things will kind of change, but countering that is you're going to see a lot more moving from the marketing side, more external, to bring more people into our community and into our products.
That's great. Yeah, I bet a lot of people are super excited to hear that. I know I am. It's going to be a wild time for sure. Let's do one more question. We're going to go ahead and hit you guys with the hardest to end it, right? Is there any update on Hedera integration?
I was waiting for that one. Look, we're speaking to Hedera basically weekly now. So we're looking at a couple options. So at this standpoint, we're still, working towards hopefully, getting some of our products in at the first half of next year. There is the asterisk that it is dependent on some of the stuff going on Hedera's side that makes it capable. But, we've got good relationships with Hedera, and, we hopefully be able to announce, at least our Q1 and Q2 roadmap in the coming weeks, and we're just finalizing some things with Hedera right now before we do that. But like I said, we're bullish Hedera, and we're speaking to them regularly, and yeah, I'm hoping that I can give you some more information in the coming weeks, but there has been progress, definitely been progress. And in the whole space between, Ethereum and Hedera, there has been movement. There are projects looking at, kind of bridging. So it's just working, with the tech that's out there, and then also with our development team. I don't know, Aidan, if you want to say anything else from the tech side.
Well, I think, from the tech side, I think it's a question of us getting in there and just doing the work. What I think is what I'm kind of realizing about the Hedera opportunity is just the scale of it. Everybody's talking about decentralization, DeFi, that kind of thing, but Hedera, there's that centralization aspect of it where they've got their council of members, and it's going to be a lot of they facilitate that kind of thing on the more centralized world. But I think if you look at the way things happened in the traditional kind of sense, with the way that some of the older, say banks, for example, they've been using AS400 servers for 20, 30 years now, right? So, and it took them years to transition over to the cloud. And you're going to have the same thing happening now with the decentralized approach, where there's going to be a huge number of organizations who a blockchain or a DLT within their business. But that transition is going to take 10, 20, 30 years. And I think that opportunity is absolutely going to be massive for someone like Hedera, who can facilitate that while also facilitate the decentralized approach. So I think that's a massive opportunity for someone like for like the Jigstack DAO to be part of, kind of have a foot in both, kind of centralized, decentralized approach, while just building on that, leveraging those technologies and leveraging that opportunity. It's just going to be huge. Transitions like that they can take a generation. And I think we're just at the start of that right now. And I think everybody needs to realize that the scale of the opportunity that's there. And hopefully we can all benefit that going forward.
Yeah, that's a lot of great information today from all three of our members here on the panel. We really do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. So I know everybody wants to know what's next, right? So all of this stuff that was discussed today, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be recorded, right? So we will have the recording out in case anybody needs to review that, dive back in if you miss anything, if you were only able to join halfway through or had to leave at some point. Well, I guess if you had to leave at some point, you wouldn't be here listening to this, but the recording will be up.
Hello?
Yeah, Trunks, you got one last one before we go?
Yeah, I just got one question. When are we mooning?
We cannot answer price questions, but that
All right.
it is definitely exciting times coming, right? A lot of stuff in the pipeline, a lot of development stuff. As you can see, it's already begun to ramp up. We can continue to answer this in the chat. I know the ambassadors are always around, more than willing to help with all of this stuff as well. So I'll just cover real quick before we get some final thoughts from the team. That there will be additional videos and articles coming out, right? That will also go into detail and help explain all of this stuff, like the 4 stages of the DAO transitions and any of the terms that we've discussed. Trunks, you still got me cracking up from that. Any of the concepts we've discussed, all that stuff. So please, guys, be on the lookout for that. Keep the announcements channel with your notifications on, because that will be coming out over the coming weeks and months on a more consistent basis as we begin our transition. And then on that, Robert, Aidan, Ali, do you guys have any final thoughts for the community?
Just again, thanks for first attending, and then also, like I said, you guys are the core machine, I guess, with the DAO. You guys are adopting. We take everything. We see the criticism, we see the positivity. I really appreciate everyone's kind of investment into Jigstack and what we're trying to do. And I'm sure we'll all grow and improve, and we're improving day by day. And I hope that you guys are seeing it. And we can't wait for 2022.
Yeah, same for me. I think I think there'll be deeper engagement next year from the team with the community. Looking to get that feedback. Like I said, I highly encourage it. We'll take it on board. We'll adapt. And the key thing is that the better, the more engagement that we get from the community, the faster we can move through these phases of the DAO and become full DAO as soon as we can, and everybody hopefully will reap the benefits. So thanks for joining today, guys. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, and I think I won't add more than what Aidan just said. Like, the more the community interacts, the more I think of a DAO, it can be built. So yeah, it was a real pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to more developments and to talk about DAOs and governance more in this context. This project is amazing, and it's really call it a unicorn in the DAO scene. So I'm very, very happy to be advising.
Once again, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Aidan. Thank you, Ali. We appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to join us on this and spread a lot of really good information. The community, you guys heard it straight from the top, right? Let's show our involvement. Let's ask the questions. Let's put up our ideas and our proposals and stuff we would like to see, right? The more we can get involved, the more it can help them to get their job done and get us transitioning towards full DAO. All right. Thanks again, everybody. We do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will be around in the chat. As always, ambassadors will always be there, team members there as well to help answer all your guys' questions if you didn't have a chance to get it asked today. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.